Well, good morning. The federal election campaign is entering a crucial stretch. The leaders are looking ahead to two debates in Montreal this week, one in English and one in French, seen as the last big opportunity to reach undecided voters before advance polls open on Friday. Now, we invited all three leaders of the major political parties on BT. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh is our guest this morning. Mr. Singh, a pleasure to have you in studio. Thanks for making the time.
Thanks so much. Happy to be here.
If the election were held tomorrow, there is not a single public opinion poll, major public opinion poll, I should say, that I can find that doesn't show the Liberals making a political comeback at the expense of your New Democrats. Why have you failed to break through?
You know, one of the things we notice is that I don't know if the polls are able to accurately capture our support, because just a couple months ago, the Ontario NDP had their election, and folks said that the leader wasn't going to win their seat and that we weren't going to make party status, but we won official opposition. So I think that's one challenge, that our support is very harder to gauge. But I know that there's a debate coming up, and there's a real opportunity to make the case to Canadians. When Canadians voted for us, they sent us to Ottawa, and we were able to bring in dental care and pharmacare. All the things that Canadians are really proud of are things that happened because Canadians voted for us, and they sent Tommy Douglas in the past, who brought in universal health care. They sent in New Democrat leaders who brought in old age security and pension. So if you want someone in Ottawa that's going to fight for you, it's because of Canadians who voted for us, that sent us there, that we've made these things happen that Canadians are really proud of, like our pensions, our old age security, our health care, and recently our dental care.
While I take your point about the polls, you yourself, though, have changed your messaging on the campaign trail. You are asking voters to give the NDP the balance of power, to form an opposition and hold whoever forms government to account. That wording is very telling.
Yeah, I feel like Canadians often would tell me throughout the year that, keep them honest. We know that the Liberals won't do things unless New Democrats are there to force them. And so pharmacare is an example. Liberals had promised that for 3 decades and hadn't done it until we were in a position to force them to do it. So we know that, sadly, the Liberals won't do what's necessary for people unless forced to do so. And we know that people need a lot of help. And so if you're worried about the cost of rent, we want to bring in national rent control. If you're worried about the cost of groceries, we want to put in a price cap on food essentials to bring down grocery prices. If you want those things to happen, the only way it will happen is if New Democrats force the government to do it. It won't happen on its own. And so that's our message to people. If you want someone on your side, not on the billionaire side, send New Democrats to Ottawa.
A lot of Canadians, though, will say that New Democrats had the opportunity to topple the Liberal government in the fall and didn't. They will view your recent history as flip-flopping on a big decision that could have changed the course of an election. Why should Canadians trust now that you're going to be the party to hold the government to account?
Well, we made a decision because we wanted more people to get help. And so the reason why we were forcing the government to deliver is because pharmacare hadn't been signed by any province. And we wanted more time to get provinces to sign up. Now 3 have signed up. So BC, Manitoba, and PEI all will have free diabetes medication and devices. We're talking about millions of Canadians that are going to have free access to medication. And we want that to happen because we want to show that New Democrats can actually make massive changes happen. And we wanted those things to happen before we went to an election.
If the Liberals do form government, are New Democrats willing to work with them again?
Well, I've said very clearly, we will never work with the Conservatives and Pierre Poilievre. New Democrats will never make Pierre Poilievre the Prime Minister, because the Conservatives want to cut the things that people need. And I think more and more Canadians are rejecting that message. They're saying, I don't want cuts to health care. I don't want cuts to pensions. These are the wrong decisions at this time. But for Mark Carney, we know that, sadly, he's someone that has profited off of the housing crisis. So we can't trust him to actually make the decisions to help improve the housing crisis when, as the chair, a very powerful position of Brookfield Investments, he made decisions to profit off of people's misery. And so we're worried that he's not going to be the one to actually fix these things. If you want someone to actually fix the housing crisis, to build homes you can afford, New Democrats have shown you that we can deliver and that we will fight for you.
But again, I guess, what would you say to the Canadians who perhaps, say again that you were waffling on a decision that could have changed the course of the government, the election, rather? Like, what do you say to them why they should trust you when Canadians wanted you to topple the Liberal government and you didn't?
Well, I don't hear anything about waffling. What I hear is Canadians saw that we fought to make sure something would improve in people's lives. And so we fought to bring dental care and pharmacare in. And we wanted to see that expanded. Now, dental care is going to expand to include everyone that earns less than $90,000 in a month's time. That's because of us. And so we used our power, and what Canadians can be confident of, we use our power for people. We're in a position of power. We're going to use it to make life better for people. And that's what we did in this minority government. We've shown people that. and concretely, we can point to the fact that people are getting dental care. Millions of Canadians are going to get medication coverage. Workers have more protection. So we use our power in Parliament to fight for people. So the City of Toronto, for folks out there wondering, how am I going to afford my groceries? How am I going to be able to afford my rent? If that's something that you're worried about, send us to Ottawa. Your vote is why we were able to bring in pharmacare and dental care. Your vote's going to be why we can bring in national rent control and price caps on food prices. These are things that can help people out, and we've shown you we can do that.
And, you know, despite all that you've just laid out, however, though, majority of Canadians are still willing to vote either another ballot for the Liberals or a ballot for the Conservatives. Why do you think that message is perhaps falling short? Do you think it might be the messenger?
Well, I think we've got 2 more weeks, so I'm looking forward to the debates to make the case to Canadians. And I want folks to know that in all this uncertainty created by Donald Trump, who's really going to fight for you and your family? Who's actually going to fight and push the government to deliver the things that you need? We've shown you that that's New Democrats. That's us. If you want someone that's going to tackle the problems that are going on in your life, that's something the New Democrats are going to do. Mark Carney has shown you that his priorities are very different. Like, he brought in a tax cut for millionaires and is proposing $43 billion in cuts to services that people need. If you want someone to fight back against those cuts, send New Democrats to Ottawa.
Okay, Mr. Singh, I unfortunately have to leave it there. I've run out of time. Thank you so much for taking the time for the conversation this morning.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.